at home. I was in village. So today we'll continue from wherever we have been discussing. So in the last 4 chapters, we have been seeing the important duties and activities and responsibilities of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, then Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, and Grostha. Basically, whether it is the duty of a Varna. Hare Krishna, you're able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Whether it is the duty of a Varna or it is the duty of a Ashrama. So one can perform one's own duties for various reasons, for various purposes, for expecting various results. But Srimad Bhagavatam mainly focuses on how to perform these duties by which one can be on the path back to Godhead. In which way performing these duties one is helped to go back to Godhead or to attain liberation. So that was the main focus. Whether it is about Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra or Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi or Grastha, whatever duties are mentioned here, they are all conducive for one's spiritual progress. They are not told just because so many Dharma Shastras are talking about all of them and they are given as a summary in the Bhagavatam. No. All these duties, the respective duties of one's own Varna and Ashrama are also helping all of us march forward on our path back to Godhead. So they are the performing these activities in this way, as it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, is conducive for us to go back to Godhead. These duties can be performed in multiple ways. In different ways, one can do the same duties. But as they are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, one should perform. That is what is recommended to all of us. Here, Narada Muni himself is speaking unto Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is the king of the entire world at that time. That means, if a sage is speaking to a king, means it is meant for each and every subject. And who is the speaker? Narada Muni. And why would Narada Muni speak about all these things if these things are taking one to Swarga and offering some material benefit? No. All these things are also conducive for spiritual progress. All these things can enable one to become determined to go on the path back to Godhead. So keeping this in mind, let us hear what Sukadeva Goswami is saying. That means what Sukadeva Goswami is repeating what Narada Muni told to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and try to emulate, understand, and try to implement in our day-to-day life as much as possible. We may not be able to do everything today itself, but jitna ho sakta hai utna, whatever extent we can perform, we should be able to put into our day-to-day life. So in the previous verses, we have seen that being a householder, one is requested to do 5 yajnas. Deva yajna, Rushi yajna, Nru yajna, Bhuta yajna, and Pitru yajna. Because we take lot of help from all these people on day-to-day basis. So performing yajna means it is an expression of our gratitude to all of them for what they are doing for us. So Deva Yajna, we are getting all the natural resources. When will we continue to get it? So we need to express our gratitude. That is Deva Yajna. Rushi Yajna, who are preserving and propagating the Shastra. So we need to worship them by receiving knowledge from them and preserving it and propagating to the next generation. Bhuta Yajna, we receive so much benefit for different living entities. Bhuta Yajna is not that something big. Just if the animals are forest animals, leave the forest for their dwelling. Don't destroy the forest and put them into hunger. If they are village animals, if they are getting food, fine. If they are not getting food, offer some food to them. Basically, making sure that all the animals are getting their food. Just like we are getting our food, they should also get their food. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Tena taknena bunjita magruddha kashyasvidhanam. That Ishavasya principle we should have implement. That is nothing but Bhuta Yajna. Then Dhru Yajna. So Bhuta Yajna is about in general all the living entities such as plants, animals, birds, insects, etc. And then Dhru Yajna means.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Nru Yajna and Bhut Yajna, they are the same.
No. Dhru Yajna means human beings. Bhuta Yajna means all living entities other than human beings.
Okay. Thank you.
See, Bhuta means the general living entities, all living entities which are around us. That's what I'm saying, na? The plants, animals, birds, reptiles, insects. So directly or indirectly, we take their help day to day. So we need to provide the means of their survival. That is our yajna means that only. For forest animals, we should keep the forests alive. For village animals, we should make sure that they are getting their food daily properly. So that is yajna. There is no need to have fire sacrifice and all. It is just taking care of them. The concept Nru yajna. Nru yajna is nothing but Atiti Devo Bhava. Anyone and everyone, whether somebody may be relative, somebody may not be a relative. It is the responsibility of a householder to take care of them, especially in regards to food. That's why it is said that Dhru Yajna means Atiti Devo Bhava. Any person known or unknown comes to us uninvitably. They should be fed. They should be given water, food. If required, if they are in need, they should be given clothing, grains, shelter, etc., etc., etc. So, in regards to whatever we have in our disposal, what we can give it to others, that means little excess than our requirement, that should be given in charity for the survival of other human beings. That is called Dhru Yajna. Here there is no fire sacrifice. In Deva Yajna there is a fire sacrifice. In Rishi Yajna, reading the Shastra, preserving the Shastra and propagating the next generation. Bhuta Yajna, just feeding them if they are in need. Dhru Yajna, feeding them if they are in need. So 4 हो गया. So बचा हुआ पितृ यज्ञ. So today the next section will be talking about Pitru Yajna. So we will see from text number 19 onwards how to perform the Pitru Yajna. Basically, when one is performing all these yajnas, keep the Supreme Lord in center. When we say Atiti Deva Bhava, Atiti is like Devata. Devata means the Supreme Lord himself. When somebody comes, one should be treated as a representative of Supreme Lord. The way we treat Supreme Lord, we should treat every living entity like that. Since every living entity is a representative of Supreme Lord, they should be taken care nicely. That is understanding. So now finally, 19 to 33 talks about the time and place to perform the Pitru Yajna, where to perform Shraddha rites. We receive so much from our ancestors. We have received the family inheritance in terms of wealth, culture, relatives, friends, all because we are born in a particular family. Our ancestors are preserving that family culture and family relations. As soon as we are born, we have so many relations. We have brother, sister, uncles, aunts, grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, and so much. There is so much a big, huge relatives are there. That is all because of our ancestors' goodness. If some of our ancestors are not at all mingling with any relatives, that's all. The grandfather is there, father is there, and you are there. And by the time you are born, grandfather is already died. So who left? Children and parents. That's all. So such kind of ancestors who will have grateful and great gratitude towards such kind of ancestors, because our ancestors have given us so many things, family inheritance and all the friends, relatives, so many. So that's why we need to express our gratitude to all of them. So this section talks about when to perform the Shraddha rites and where to perform the Shraddha rites, and that is Pitru Yajna. So suitable times, they are all mentioned in the next few verses. So let us see. कुर्यादपरपक्षीयम्
Kuryad aparapakshiyam
मासि प्रौष्टपदे द्विजा
masi praushtapade dvijaha
श्राद्धं पित्रोर्यथा वित्तम्
shraddham pitro yatha vittam
तद् तद्बन्धूनां च वित्तवान्.
tad bandhunam cha vittavan. A Brahmana who is sufficiently rich must offer oblations to the forefathers during the dark moon fortnight in the latter part of the month of Bhadra. Similarly, he should offer oblations to the relatives of the fathers during the Mahalaya ceremonies in the month of Ashwin.
Yeah, this is talking about Pitru Yajna. A Brahmana who is sufficiently rich, Dvija Vittavan. Here, Dvija is not only Brahmana, Dvija is twice born, whether it could be Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya. From these three categories, they should be performing all these samskaras very religiously, very systematically, very nicely. So, it is very important for them because they know about the importance of all these things, so they should perform. If importance of all, if they don't perform, it is not a big mistake. But in spite of knowing, if one does not perform, that's a big mistake. That's why they said that Dvija, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya who knows about all these things, how to perform, why to perform, they should definitely perform. If and how they should perform as per their economical status. If they are sufficiently rich, must offer oblations according to his means. So whatever way one is rich or whatever way one is situated, according to one situation, one should perform Shraddha rites unto forefathers. Pitror tad bandhunam. Pitror means our father. Tad bandhuna means our father's father and their father, like that, all ancestors. During the dark moon fortnight in the month of Bhadra. Puryad apare pakshiyam. Apare paksha means the second paksha. The first paksha is Shukla paksha. Second paksha is Krishna paksha. In which month? Masi Praushtapade. In the month of Bhadra. Bhadra month is called Praushthapada. So in the month of Bhadra, the second paksha, that is known as Krishna paksha, one should perform Shraddha rites. Masi Praushtapade means in Bhadra month, Apara Pakshiya means Krishna paksha. So if one does not know on which tithi the parents have left their body, the grandparents and forefathers and all, so better to perform during this Bhadrapada Krishna paksha, so that it will be taken care. So in that way, Chaitra, Vaishaka, Jyeshta, Ashada, Shravana, Bhadrapada. So in the month of Shravana we have Janmashtami. After Shravana, and the next month is Bhadrapada. During that Bhadrapada month, one should perform this particular Shraddha rites. Okay, next. And then, in addition to this Bhadrapada Shukla Paksha, when we can perform these Shraddha rites? What are the other suitable times? A big list is there. Let us see. Later on, it said that in all these auspicious times, not only Pitru Yajna, any other auspicious activities performed, they are all good for a seeker. They are all good for a sadhaka. They are all good for a devotee. So what are all those times which enable one to become serious in one's sadhana? Let us see. Ayane Vishuve Kuryad
Ayane Vishuve Kuryad
Vyatipate Dinakshaye
Vyatipate Dinakshaye
Chandradityoparage cha
Chandradityoparage cha
Dvadasyam Shravaneshu cha
Dvadasyam Shravaneshu cha
Tritiyam Shukla Pakshe
Tritiyayam Shuklapakshe
Navamyam Mata Kartike
Navamyamath Kartike
Chatasru api Ashtakshau Ashtakasu
Chatasru Swapakasu
Hemante Shishire Tata
Hemante Shishire Tatha
Mage Chasita Sapat Saptamyam
Maghe Chasita Saptamyam
मागराकाशमागमे
मघाराकाशमागमे
राकया चानुमत्या च
राकया चानुमत्या च
मासर्क्षाणि युतान्यपि
मासर्क्षाणि युत्यान्यपि
द्वादश्यामनुराधास्यात्
द्वादश्यामनुराधास्या
श्रवणस्तिस्रवुत्तरा
श्रवणस्तिस्र उत्तरः
तिसृषु एकादशी वासु
तिसृष्वेकादशी वासु
जन्मक्षाश्रोण्ययोगकृक्
जन्मक्षाश्रोणयोगयोग. One should perform the Shraddha ceremony on the Makar Sankranti, the day when the sun begins to move north, or on the Karkata Sankranti, the day when the sun begins to move south. One should also perform this ceremony on Mesha Sankranti day and Tula Sankranti day in the yoga named Vyatipata. On that day in which three lunar tithis are conjoined, during an eclipse of either the moon or the sun, or the 12th lunar day, and in the Shravan Nakshatra. One should perform this ceremony on Akshaya Tritiya day, on the 9th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartika, on the 4 Ashtakas in the winter season and cool season, on the 7th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Magha, during the conjunction of Magha Nakshatra and the full moon day, and on the days when the moon is completely full or not quite completely full. When these days are conjoined with the nakshatras from which the names of certain months are derived, one should also perform the Shraddha ceremony on the 12th lunar day when it is in conjunction with any of the nakshatras named Anuradha, Shravana, Uttara Falguni, Uttara Shada, or Uttara Bhadrapada. Again, one should perform this ceremony when the 11th lunar day is in conjunction with either Uttara Falguni, Uttara Shada, or Uttara Bhadrapada. Finally, one should perform this ceremony on days conjoined with one's own birth star, Janma Nakshatra, or with Shravana Nakshatra. Hare Krishna.
Elaborate translation. So, in addition to Bhadrapada month Krishna Paksha, that which is called Pitru Paksha, what are the other suitable times that we can perform this Shraddha ceremony? And also all other holy activities. Ayane, when there is Uttarayana and Dakshinayana begins, that time we can perform. That is Makar Sankranti is January 14th, Karka Sankranti is July 16th, and these 2 days one can perform Shraddha rites, no problem. Vishwe is the like equinoctial times, April 14th and October 15th. And these 2 days also we can perform. And Vetipata, there is a yoga called as Vetipata when sun and moon are at a particular longitude. So that time you can do. Vetipata comes once in a month. So that particular time one can do. Dinakshaya means when there is Titikshaya. Whenever there is Titikshaya. For example, today is Ashtami, tomorrow is Dashami. So Navami is gone. So whenever there is Titikshaya, on that particular day, one can perform. Or in a particular day, within a day, starting from Brahma Muhurta till we go to sleep, if there are 3 tithis, that means within 24 hours, if there are 3 tithis are there, that particular day also one can perform. So one tithi is there. For example, we can say early in the morning, one tithi is there. When we get up around 5 o'clock, one tithi is there, and 5:10 tithi changed, and next day morning around 4:30 the tithi ended, and third tithi began. So in 24 hours, 3 tithis were there. So in that way, that means morning 6 a.m. today during sunrise there is Saptami, and 6:10 Ashtami began, and tomorrow 5:50 Ashtami ended, and 5:51 Navami began, and at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning it will be Dashami. Ashtami, Navami, Dashami, the other Navami is gone. Because today morning at sunrise there is Ashtami, tomorrow morning at sunrise it is Dashami. So Navami is Gyan. So today's particular, there is a particular Titik Shaya today. So on that particular day, one can perform this particular ceremony. So in that way. And Chandra Aditya Uparaga. Uparaga means eclipse. So lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. During the eclipse, one should not do anything. After the eclipse is over, all of us take bath and we cook again and we try to give charities. So one of the things is recommended is also to do performing Shraddha rites, offer oblations to the forefathers and then give charity to the deserving candidates. That is after eclipse is over, immediately after we take bath and then perform Shraddha, something like that. Dwadasham Shravaneshu. In the month of whenever Shravana Nakshatra coincides with Dwadashi, that day one should do Shraddha rites. So on the day of Dwadashi, if the moon is moving in the Shravana Nakshatra, one should do. Tritiyam Shukla Pakshe. So of course, yeah, we'll go to the next page. Exactly. So one should perform the Shraddha ceremony at the winter and summer solstices, also at the spring and autumn equinoxes, Ayana and Vishwa. In the yoga named Yatipata, on the day in which 3 lunar tithis are conjoined, in one day in 24 hours there are tithis, one tithis is gone, so in that particular day. During an eclipse of either the moon or of the sun, or on the 12th lunar day when the moon is in Shravana Nakshatra. That means on Dwadashi, when the moon is in Shravana Nakshatra, that is also very auspicious. Shravana Dwadashi, we can say. Not in the month of Shravana, but on the Dwadashi Tithi, the moon is traveling in the Shravana Nakshatra. So in that way. So one should perform this ceremony on the Akshaya Tritiya day. Akshaya Tritiya also one should perform. Recently we had Akshaya Tritiya. During the Navami of the bright fortnight of Kartika, in the month of Kartika, Kartika Shukla Navami, also one can perform. See, in the month of Kartika, on the Amavasya, the very first day we have Diwali. So Diwali के बाद Kartika शुरू होता है, first Shukla Paksha, so Navami. That means 9 days after Diwali, one should perform this particular Shraddha rites. So no problem. And on the 4 Ashtamis of the dark fortnight during Hemanta and Shishra seasons. So in the Rutus, in the 2 seasons, Hemanta and Shishra. So Marga, what is that? Sharad Rutu. Sharad, after Sharad comes Hemanta, after that Shishira comes. So Sharad Rutu will be like October, November, we can say. December, January, February, March. In these 4 months, we will have 4 dark fortnights. During those 4 dark fortnights, during those 4 Shukla Paksha, Krishna Pakshas, Ashtamis. So on those 4 Ashtamis, one can perform Shraddha rites. So in the dark fortnight of the Ashtami of Hemant and Shishir Rutus, one can perform. Similarly, on the Saptami of the bright fortnight of the month of Maga. So Maga month, January, February, Maga will come. So in the month of Maga, during the bright fortnight, on the Saptami day also, one can perform. I suppose in the month of Maga, the Shukla Paksha Saptami is Rath Saptami. Rath Saptami is also one of the auspicious holy festival. So many of the Indian temples, so they have a chariot. The chariot will be taken out and then the lordships will be traveling all over the village or town, whatever. So that will be like in Jagannath Puri, we perform Jagannath Rath Yatra during this month of June, July. But in all the regular temples, the temple Rath Yatra happens on the Rath Saptami. So on that particular day also one can perform this Shraddha ceremony. And during the conjunction of Magha Nakshatra and the full moon day, when the full moon day, that is Paurnami, happens on Magha Nakshatra, that means in the month of Magha, if the full moon day is happening exactly on the Magha Nakshatra, so one can do. In that Magha Saptami, Magha Shukla Saptami and Magha Purnima also one can do. And the days when the moon is completely full, the full moon day, Paurnami, they on all the Paurnamis also one can do, are not quite completely full. So basically, either full moon day or one day before, one day after also, no problem. But the moon should be conjoining with Magha Nakshatra. So basically, in the month of Magha, so So every time, every January, February month, when the moon is closely associating with Maga Nakshatra, one should perform Shraddha, right? That basically either it is Paurnami or one day before or one day later. It generally happens like that. So in that way. And also on these times conjoined with the constellations during the 4 month, which the names of the month are derived. So for every month on the Paurnami day, the moon is conjoining with the respective star. For example, Chaitra Masa, which comes in the month of April. On the full moon day, the moon is generally supposed to conjoin with Chitra Nakshatra. So either it can happen on Paurnami or one day before Paurnami or one day after Paurnami. So whenever the conjunction is happening on that particular day, one can perform Shraddha, either on Paurnami or on Chaturdashi or on Pratipada. So in that way, all the 3 days, see the conjunction and perform the Shraddha ceremony. And one should also perform the Shraddha ceremony on the Dwadashi, when it is in conjunction with any of the constellation named Anuradha, Shravana, Uttara Falguni, Uttarashada, or Uttara Bhadrapada. If by chance on the Dwadashi day, if the moon is in conjunction with Anuradha Nakshatra, Shravana Nakshatra, Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, Uttarashada, or Uttara Bhadrapada, all Uttara Nakshatras, so one can perform Shraddha ceremony. Or one should perform the Shraddha ceremony when the Ekadashi is in conjunction with either Uttara Falguni, Uttarashada, or Uttara Bhadrapada. Generally, Shraddha ceremony should not be performed on Ekadashi, but sometimes Ekadashi Tithi is today only, but that day may not be suitable for fasting Ekadashi. Ekadashi fasting will be on Dwadashi. Sometimes it happens, we fast on Dwadashi day, not on Ekadashi, because of some particular reasons. If we are supposed to fast on Dwadashi, and if the Ekadashi is there today, and if the Ekadashi day, the moon is coinciding with Uttara Falguni, Uttarashada, Uttara Bhadrapada, one can offer Shraddha. Basically, one should never ever offer Shraddha on Ekadashi. Ekadashi day, we are not supposed to offer grains to forefathers, because we are not supposed to eat grains and we are not supposed to offer grains. So that's why Ekadashi day is not supposed to be offered Shraddha. But if by chance Ekadashi is not suitable for fasting Ekadashi, but Dwadashi you are supposed to fast, and we can offer Shraddha on Dwadashi. But if Dwadashi is supposed to be fasted, we can offer a Shraddha on Ekadashi. However, that Ekadashi, on that Ekadashi, the moon should be coinciding with Uttara Palguni, Uttarashada, or Uttara Bhadrapada. Only on these 3 Ekadashis only one can perform Shraddha. Seems that on Ekadashi day, the moon is conjoining with Uttara Palguni, Uttarashada, Uttara Bhadrapada. That Ekadashi is suitable for not suitable for fasting. So on those days, we have to fast on Dwadashi. So indirectly, we can infer this. Finally, one should perform the Sharda ceremony when one's own birth star, birth constellation, or Shravana Nakshatra have special astrological combinations. So whatever nakshatra one is born, so whenever that nakshatra comes on that particular nakshatra day, one can perform Shraddha. Or Shravana nakshatra has some special exaltations, that time also one can perform Shraddha rites. Of course, these timings are not only for Shraddha rites. Later on, one verse says that any auspicious activity can be performed on all these days. All these days are all very good times to perform any pious activities, any spiritual activity which aid one's spiritual progress. Don't think that all these activities are pious activities. No, they are not simply pious activities. They are all supposed to be considered as spiritual activities which are meant for one's spiritual progress. So Narada Muni going into elaborate details when to do, etc. Later on, he will also talk about where to do also. So in that way, that means even though a grahastha is supposed to perform so many duties, if they do all these duties keeping in mind, I am doing all these things with the intention to go back home back to Godhead, and if they are done at a particular place and at a particular time as recommended by Bhagavatam, all these performance of all these activities definitely will aid once going back home back to Godhead. In that one should never ever have doubt, and one should never ever disregard all these activities as karmakanda rituals. No, they are no, not at all karmakanda rituals. If one performs all these things, hoping that, praying that, okay, I'm doing all these things, I should get returns immediately. I should get wealth, I should get good wife, good children, good job, good increment, good all this, the good that. If one performs all these things with the expectation of material benefit, then that activity becomes karmakanda ritual. Otherwise, the same activity will be actually spiritual activity. It is basically the intention determines our activity. With what intention we are performing activity. That intention will tell whether the activity is a transcendental activity or pious activity or rajasic activity or tamasic activity or sattvic activity, etc. So one should be careful about that. One should perform the Shraddha rites on the solstice or equinoxes, Ayane Vishwe, and before the summer solstice and before that of the Akshaya Tritiya. So these are same thing, some notes. During the Hemanta and Shishira seasons, there are 4 months and there are 4 Krishna Pakshas and there are 4 Ashtamis. So on these days, one should perform Shraddhas. Each month is named after a particular constellation. When the full moon or slightly less join the constellation during the month named after it, one should perform Shraddha rites. Basically, during every month around full moon day, when the moon is coinciding with the month nakshatra, Chaitra month, Chitra nakshatra, Vaishaka month, Vaishaka nakshatra, Bhadrapada month, Bhadra nakshatra. So when the moon is coinciding with them, it can happen either on Chaturdashi or on the Paurnami or on the Pratipad. So whenever it coincides on that particular day, one can perform Shraddha rites. Amarakosha says that Anumati means one phase less than a full moon day, Raka means full moon day. So on the full moon day, Raka means full moon day. So one should perform Shraddha and Dwadashi conjoined with Anuradha, Shravana, Uttara Palguni, Uttarashada and Uttara Bhadrapada, or when the later 3 conjoin in Ekadashi. So on the Dwadashi day, if the moon is conjoining with all these 5 and we have already fasted on Ekadashi, or if the Ekadashi is not suitable for fasting, on Ekadashi day, if the moon is conjoining with the later 3, these 3, one can perform Shraddha rite. One should not combine this with Ekadashi fast, since Shraddha rites are forbidden on the fast days. Brahmavivata Purana says, Ye kurvanti mahipala Shraddhan Chaikadashi dine Trayaste narakam yanti Data bhokta preraka. If we perform Shraddha rites on the Ekadashi day, 3 people will go to Naraka. Who are they? Data, the performer, Bhokta, the enjoyer, and Preraka, the informer, the inspirer. Those who perform Shraddha rites on the Ekadashi day, the giver of the food, the receiver of the food, the giver means we, the performer, receiver means our forefathers, our father or forefathers, whoever, and the person who orders the rite, 3 of them go to hell. So Ekadashi day we should not do. Since one cannot perform the offerings to the Pitrus on the fast days, so one should do that on the next day, according to Padma Purana. If it happens on Ekadashi, we should perform Shraddha and Dwadashi without any issue. That means if our fathers or forefathers died on the Ekadashi day, we should perform annual rites on Dwadashi day, not on Ekadashi. If one's mother or father dies on Ekadashi, one should offer rites on the Dwadashi, not on the Ekadashi day, which is meant for fasting. Even the Pushkara Kanda says from Padma Purana, O Lord Rama, when Shraddha occurs on Ekadashi, one should reject that day and perform them on Dwadashi. When one's birth constellation or Shravana constellation have special astrological combinations, special yogas and special exaltation, etc., one should perform this rite. So, here is a list of what are the suitable times to perform Shraddha rites and other spiritual and pious activities. So, like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, the person who orders the rites means who exactly?
We may ask one pujari, we go to pujari, na, we ask him, whether can I do it today or not. He will say, no problem, you do it. Pujari means not temple pujari, but basically those who see Panchanga, those who select the Muhurta, those who tell that you do now, you do such kind of person.
Okay.
Hmm.
And Prabhuji, all these days elaborately it has been mentioned. So the grihasthas are supposed to perform shraddha on all these days, or which coincides with whatever the tithi of the departed soul, like that.
No. So basically, generally, I seen in the South India, they do on the Tithi day. If they don't know what is the Tithi, they can do during Pitru Paksha. If they can't wait, see, it is mandatory that either you should do on Tithi day or you can do on Pitru Paksha. But all these other auspicious times are additional times. If you have not performed on the Tithi and during the Pitru Paksha, you should perform any of these days. Also, if you have already performed on Tithi day or in the Pitru Paksha, all these are also conducive days where you can perform. You can also perform second time.
Okay, means for additional benefit.
See, for example, we may know about our father, but we don't know about grandfather, great grandfather. उनका तिथि पता नहीं हमको. So in all these auspicious moments, we can perform for them. It's like that.
Prabhuji, but like means very commonly, many times I have heard this that one generation after they have, suppose like our generation, so we have to perform shraddha for our previous generation, but उसके previous का जो generation है, we are not supposed to do shraddha rites for them. That's what I have
Then
heard.
I'll tell you one thing. So we should never ever take our grandparents' property. Whatever property is coming in the genealogical succession, so we should not have any rights for the inheritance of the grandparents' property. Then we should only take our whatever has been earned and saved by our parents.
Prabhuji, but like suppose grandparents.
No,
some person-
simple. See, it's all an excuse for our laziness. People start saying all this, hey, how can you do all this? You should not do, you don't have any right. It's not like that. At least we are supposed to do for 3 generations when we do Shraddha rites. उसके पहले हमको पता नहीं. See, Shraddha rites is like expressing gratitude. It is not like a impious ritual, so you should not do it, is not good for you. Not like that. It is a expression of gratitude. If somebody helped us, so how many times we can tell thanks? One time is okay. 2 times also we can tell. Now what is the problem?
Yeah, so maybe that what we hear, maybe a karma kandi consideration. Like,
See, more than that, actually, one thing I was thinking that because last week I went home also a lot of discussion happened. Then nowadays the mentality is all about taking. We are only interested in taking. We are not at all interested in giving others. People became so selfish nowadays in this Kali Yuga becoming more and more rampant. People are becoming more and more selfish. They are only interested in what I will get from others. No one is interested in what I can give to others. That's what we say, na? When we say in Bhakti, Seva, we say, na? What are you doing? We say, na? We am doing Seva. In Seva, there is nothing to get in return. We don't get it in return. Seva means it is done without expecting anything in return, not even the recognition. That is called Seva. That Seva concept is no more valid in the modern world. If there is no benefit, no one will do anything. That is the social psychology nowadays. That's why they say, what is the need to do all these things? Hey, kuch time pass. टाइम वेस्ट ऐसा करके बोलते हैं लोग.
Yeah, people don't have time to do the final rites of the parents. Like they outsource it to the institutions. In outside world, means in Western world, to many it is very common. So where they have time to perform the shraddha after every year
So
like that. So
if that is the case, we should not take anything from our parents and forefathers. Then one is excused. One no need to perform any shraddha rites.
Uh, so Prabhuji, in this case, like one thing you mentioned while explaining that one should not think that what I will means I will get some prosperity or something by performing Shraddha, right? So I was just thinking that who thinks that will like Shraddhas are basically performed to give pleasure and if any obstacles are there for the further
No, no,
journey
no,
of our
no, no. The common psychology is all like that only. Shraddha is considered to be a pious activity. See, for example, recently I went home. In our home, there was a small puja, Satyanarayana puja. So in South, it is very famous. After marriage, they perform. Every home they perform, and once in a while, when they want to do, I mean, when they want to get something, they pray to Lord, saying that, okay, please fulfill this desire. I'll perform vrata for you, something like that. So it's basically even the vrata itself had the mantra saying that somebody performed so and so puja and they got wealth, they got pair of children, they got wife. So there are 5 stories in that particular puja. All the 5 stories will tell. Every story has a particular benefit. That means indirectly or directly, pujas are performed even for Lord Vishnu also, getting something in return. And South is very famous for Mandala Dikshas. 41 days they follow Diksha. Some follow Diksha for Ayyappa, some follow Diksha for Hanumanji, some follow Diksha for Durga, some follow Diksha for Lord Shiva. So nowadays, people are following Diksha for Lord Rama also. There is a famous temple in Telangana, Bhadrachalam. So they are following Diksha for Lord Rama also, 41 days Diksha. So, but every
Hare Krishna.
follower has a particular desire in their mind, whether the desire is already fulfilled or want to get fulfilled. Then only they perform Mandal Diksha.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what is Diksha?
Diksha means a particular vrata. They wear particular clothes. For Ayyappa Diksha, they wear black clothes. They don't wear pant shirt during those 41 days. They don't wear chapel. They eat only once in a day. And they travel, I mean, all the way up to Shabarimala during Makar Sankranti. And they come back. They fulfill that vow and they come back. Like that for Mahashivratri. Before Mahashivratri 41 day, they perform this vow for Lord Shiva. And before Ramanavami, they perform for Lord Ram. So something like that. Diksha means a vrata, 41 days vrata. In those 41 days, they don't stay in the home, they stay in the temple, they stay away from basically, we're like a brahmachari, they lead a life of brahmacharya. So, like that.
okay, so all these are basically the karmakandiya considerations, what you explained.
When something is performed expecting some material benefit, that can be called as karmakanda ritual. But here, Nardam is not talking about them performing. See, the same activity can be performed for any purpose. Action is same, but with what intention you are performing, that determines your result. So we should perform all these things with the intention to come back to Godhead. Why? Because I have got my birth in a particular family which is conducive for my spiritual practices. Thank you very much. Please. I want to go back to Godhead. Please, all of you also come back to Godhead. So like that.
Oh, yeah, that also we can pray. Okay. And
Hmm.
Prabhuji, one last thing, like as you mentioned for the previous generations also, means not only just the generation before us, we can means that Sarvapitri Amavasya or something they say, na, so where all the for all the Pitras, Shraddha rites can be performed. So we can offer food on that day for the previous generation whom we don't know, like that, na, means from the
That's what
devotee
I'm saying. Na?
perspective.
If you
I'm
know
asking.
Tithi and the Tithi day, you can do. If you don't know, then you can do Pitrupaksha or all these times also. Especially, it is said that. So, generally, all these things are performed when people are on Tirtha Yatras. Normally, in the past, people used to go for holy pilgrimage. When they go for pilgrimage, they would go by walk and they would spend a lot of time on pilgrimage and all. If they happen to be in a holy place on these particular times, on the bank of a river or ocean, they definitely perform such kind of Shraddha rites, especially in a holy place. We will see. Next verse comes. Because the holy places are meant to perform such kind of auspicious pious activities.
Okay.
So it is like that.
So
That's why in every holy place we have a lot of brahmanas are residing and they will be helping us performance of all these things. Even today also, especially we go to holy place to immerse the ashes into the river, Ganga, Yamuna, whichever holy river is near to our home. In those holy river we have brahmanas and will help us performing these Shraddha rites with along with the respect to corresponding mantras and all to do it properly. For example, recently during the Gaura Purnima time, His Grace Bankim Rai Prabhu, our brahmachari only nowadays is staying in Andhra and is preaching there. So he brought all Telugu devotees for a big yatra. So we have been to Varanasi, Ayodhya, and in between one day Gaya. That is a holy day. So all Telugu people came for this yatra. Especially they wanted to perform Shraddha for their father or ancestors because they may do at home, but performing the Shraddha rites in Gaya is their lifetime dream. For many people in general, not for devotees, but other people in general, at least जीवन में एक बार तो गया जाके वहाँ पे पितृ श्राद्ध करने का. Because they hear about it, they say that by doing this, you will attain Sadgati and your father also will attain Sadgati and you will get lot of opulences, something like that. The Karmakanda benefits. They must have heard, they remembered, and they want to do it at least once in their life. So for this yatra, about 450, 600 people came. So more than 50% are all people who came for the first time for this yatra, and with the soul aim to perform Shraddha rites in Gaya, because Gaya is known for that. So performing is right, but their intention is different. So devotees, when they perform, they should perform this particular rite with the purpose of enabling oneself and one's forefathers going back home, back to Godhead. So intention should be clear, the sankalpa should be clear. So in that way.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I don't remember the place whether it is Kashi, Gaya or Prayag. I have heard that in one place you can perform your own Shraddha. Does it have any scriptural reference or it is a Karmakandi procedure?
No, not like that. See, it is like that. In the past, after settling all the household responsibilities, a person would enter into Vanaprastha order. So entering into Vanaprastha means continuously traveling pilgrimage. So once they have gone, they are gone. They will never come home. So in the home, so they would never come home. The children never know on which day he passed away. And the children will never have the opportunity to burn his body and get the ashes and doing all the Antyeshti rituals. And this person, if at all, if he has children, if he does not have children also, for example, especially for those who don't have any children, if they have taken onto Vanaprastha order, they happen to come to holy place Gaya, especially Gaya only, and they can perform their own Shraddha and then go on to Himalayas further and die. So it's like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Because there is no one there behind to perform any Shraddha rites.
Understood.
And for such people who does not know when they die, so that's why we have all these tithis. See, nowadays no one is going on Vanaprastha order. That's why everyone is dying at home only. So we know their tithi.
Right.
But in the past it is not like that. In the past, 99% people would take to Vanaprastha and go to forest and die there only. And many of the family members does not know when they die. So all these tithis are mentioned so that they can perform Shraddha rites, and particularly auspicious tithis. Because you don't know the tithi.
Correct. Thank you, bro.
That's why many times what scriptures are saying we may not be able to correlate. Why Bhagavatam is telling all these things, all these so many days? So one is, if you happen to go to pilgrimage, if you happen to be any holy place that this particular auspicious moment has come, do it immediately, without fail. It is good for you, good for your ancestors. doing in a holy moment and holy place, it gives thousands of times benefit, which is mentioned in the same chapter of Bhagavatam.
Okay.
We say na, whenever we go to holy place, our Gurujan says, our Bhagavad Kathakar, this is a holy place. Whatever bhakti you do here, it will award you 1,000 times more benefit whenever we go to Vrindavan, Mayapur.
Yeah.
Same way, any Vedic ritual we perform in a holy place, it will award us 1,000 times benefit compared to the same thing when performed at our own city or town or village.
Right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, when you go to holy places and perform Shraddha, you don't have to necessarily see the tithi and then do it. No?
Hmm.
You can
Mataji,
perform.
Mataji, 1 second, 1 second. One call is coming. I just will come back. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, I'm in a call. Yeah. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
If we go to a holy place, Dham, and if we decide to perform Shraddha there, so even if it is not one of those cities which are mentioned in Bhagavatam, is it okay if we do it, or we have to do it on a particular tithi only, even if it is a Dham?
Better to follow some auspicious movement. So I don't know. See, if we do on this particular tithi in that particular holy place, it is more appropriate. But if that is not possible, since we are already in holy place, if that tithi is not around, maybe far, but still we can take because we are in the holy place. That benefit will be there.
As long as it is not Ekadashi or.
Yes, yes. Not on Ekadashi. Ekadashi day or any other fasting days we should not do.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. If both coincide, it will be good. At our home, Tithi may be there, but it's not a holy place. In a holy place, Tithi is a holy place, but Tithi may not be there. But if both coincides, that is actually best combination. Otherwise, also okay, but that is best combination. Okay, we'll move on. Tayete Shreyasa Kala.
Tayete Shreyasa Kala.
Trunam Shreyo Vivardana.
Nrunam Shreyo Vivardhana.
Kuryat Sarvatmanaiteshu.
Kuryat Sarvatmaneteshu.
Shreyo Mogam Tadayushaha.
Shreyo Mogham Tadayushaha. All of these seasonal times are considered extremely auspicious for humanity. At such times, one should perform all auspicious activities. For by such activities, a human being attains success in his short duration of life.
Of course, before going this, one point I wanted to make in relation to previous verse because Mataji asked that thing. See, nowadays the people's mentality is we have two things: our rights and responsibilities. People always fight for rights. I'm supposed to get this. I'm supposed to get this. I deserve this. I deserve this. But no one says that I'm supposed to do this. I am ordained to do this. I owe to do this. Such kind of words very rarely we get to hear. That is basically the nowadays the mentality is all about selfishness. What I get, then what I can give. The whole atmosphere has been completely getting changed. So in that way. So now it says that the verse says all of these special times increase auspiciousness for humanity. Ta ete shreyasa kala nranam shreyo vivardana. If we do these auspicious ceremonies in these auspicious times, they will increase our auspiciousness. One should perform actions at these times. This will produce unfailing success in the whole of man's life. Even if one does with the intention of getting some material benefit, definitely they'll get material benefit. If one is doing all these things with spiritual benefit, they will also get spiritual benefit, because these times are very auspicious times in that way. Performing acts of dharma, not just Shraddha rites, at these times produces auspicious effects. Here it says, not only Shraddha rites, any other pious activity, any other spiritual activity performed in these times, they all accord highest benefit. That's why we say, na, whenever there is eclipse, just sit home and chant Hare Krishna mantra, or do Kirtan, or hear Krishna Katha. That will award greatest benefit. One should perform auspicious acts at these times, and then one will have unfailing success in one's life. So, in that way, whether we can do direct spiritual activities or we can do those activities which are conducive for our spiritual life, both can be performed in all these auspicious times. So, they are good for our spiritual progress. So, in that way, we can take. Eshu snanam japo homo
Eshu snanam japo homo
व्रतं देवादिवा व्रतं देवाद्विजार्चनम्
vratam deva dvijarchanam
पितृदेवानृभूतेभ्यो
pitradeva nrabhutebhyo
यद्दत्तं तद्धि अनस्वरम् अनश्वरम्
yaddattam tadhi anashwaram. During these periods of seasonal change, if one bathes in the Ganges, in the Yamuna, or in another sacred place, if one chants, offers fire sacrifices, or executes vows, or if one worships the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the forefathers, the demigods, and the living entities in general, whatever he gives in charity yields a permanently beneficial result.
Mhm. So what all we can do in these auspicious times? During these times, if one bathes in a sacred place, so on these auspicious times, it is beneficial that we should go to holy place and take bath. Like Bhagamela, people come to Ganga and Prayag, not everywhere, only Prayag. So they take bath. That holy place, that holy time is suitable for that bath. So good for that. If one chants, even one chants Vedic mantras or Hare Krishna Maha mantra, offers fire sacrifice, even if one performs fire sacrifice at that time, executes vows like fasting and other things, or if one worship the Supreme Lord, worshipping the Supreme Lord, hmm, or gives offerings to the Brahmanas, gives some charity to the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, and also performs Shraddha rites for the forefathers, Pitru Yajna, and performs offerings for the Devatas, or giving charity or giving food to the other living entities in general. Deva Dvijarchanam Pitru Devan Ru Bhutebhyo. Pitru Yajna, Deva Yajna, Ru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Deva Yajna, and Dvijarchanam. So basically, in these times, either giving charity to the Brahmanas, offering oblation to the Pitrus, or performing offering oblation to Devatas, or feeding the human beings, normal human beings, and then other living entities. So they are all good. So one attains yad dattam by giving that taddi anashwaram. Nashwara means destroyed. Anashwara means one gets those benefits which will never be destroyed. Eternal benefits, we can say. So that is the greatness of these auspicious times. So like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, apart from these means these days are mentioned, na, those are good for any pious activities like that. But when in devotional sphere we discuss that suppose we are performing kirtan for maybe housewarming or for anything like for our forefathers or whatever. So any day we do the devotional activity, it's considered as good only. So I just wanted to know means if that way if we have to do some spiritual activity for any thing, that time also we should try to see that it falls on these days or we can perform any day like spiritual
See,
activity.
see, see. I told this point many times. You being a devotee perform bhakti activities. That is for one spiritual progress. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, etc. But we, in addition to being a devotee, we are also a grasta. So being a grasta, one had the responsibility to perform Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Nru Yajna, and Bhuta Yajna. These are the responsibilities of a householder, or the duties of a householder. If one is a householder, one is supposed to do all these duties. But here Nardamuni is telling that how to do all these duties in a way these duties are conducive for one's going back home back to Godhead. So Nardamuni is not telling that you should not do bhakti, only do all these things. You do bhakti, and as long as you are a grasa, do these things also. But however, if your bhakti is taking so much time and you don't have any time to do these duties, then you are excused. Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam. If you are performing 24/7 bhakti only, and tithis are coming and whole place are also you are gone, but you are not able to do this ritual, these five vratas, so then Lord will say that Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. You have given up all these dharmas, you are a grasa, but this is your grasa dharma, but you are not able to do because Mamekam Sharanam Raja. 24/7 you are only doing my bhakti. You don't have any time to do all these duties. Then don't worry. I will I will see if you being a grasa, if one does not perform these duties, one is sin, one is committing sin. But if one is performing bhakti as a result of that, because of that, one is not able to perform these duties, then Lord will take the responsibility of removing that sin from us. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ichchami masuchaha. Don't worry, don't worry. Because you are fully engaged in my bhakti, you are not able to do all these duties. I will remove that sin. Only they are excused. Sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam. Gato mukundam parihritta kartum. Only for them they are excused. Otherwise, it is grasa dharma. A grasa is supposed to do all these things. Now it is up to the individual to decide. Are we really busy 24/7? We don't have any time to do all these things. Or in the name of devotee, in the name of being devotee, I don't have to do like that. We say and we don't do.
Okay, Prabhuji. And means when one is supposed to perform these activities and one doesn't perform, it is considered as a sin.
Yes, yes. According to Shastra, they are considered as sin.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Why it is sin? Because we are taking their help and we are not acknowledging their help. Like we say, na, te bungte ena stena evacha. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3. We are getting so many benefits from the devatas and we don't acknowledge it. Then we are thief. Thief is sin.
Okay.
Hmm.
Understood, Prabhuji. Yeah, because
So that's
there
what
are
I'm
means
saying, na. If you don't want to perform Shraddha rites, don't take anything from father or forefathers. Then you are excused for performing Shraddha rites. If you don't want to worship Devata, then don't take anything from Devatas. Don't, no sunlight, no wind, and no rain, no food. Food also we are getting from earth, so don't take. So like that.
yeah, true,
So
Prabhuji.
in that Bhuta Yajna is there. Food does not come just like that. Food comes by tilling the land, by bulls and all. So we need to do take care of them. We are owing to them. And every day we have milk products. We owe to cow, mother cow. That's what now the modern day mentality is that I deserve.
Hare Krishna,
We think
Prabhuji.
that we deserve everything. So, but actually, the Vedic culture is that I don't deserve. Instead of that, in spite of that, they are all giving me. I will remain a indebted person to all of them. We can't repay them by whatever we do. We can never repay them. So like that, that should be our mentality. If we are in that mentality, we are excused. If somehow or other we may not do sometimes. And then
Yes,
what to
all
speak of intentionally not doing. I don't have to do all these things. We will do time waste, all these things like that. If somebody says Hare Krishna.
so basically, it is a way of expressing gratitude to everyone from whom we are taking things. That also
Ah,
increases our humility in a process. Like,
it's not even humility, it is basic courtesy. It is the first and foremost human value. If we don't do that, we are not different from asuras. Asura is that one who only takes, who does not give.
yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
Mataji, you are
Prabhuji.
saying something. Yeah.
Prabhuji, these five yajnas which are recommended towards rishis, devas, and all, they have a particular ritual, or it is just the expression of gratitude which amounts to yajna. Oh,
No, that's what I just now in the beginning of the class I said, na? For example, Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta Yajna means it's not like you have to do fire sacrifice.
no,
Bhuta Yajna is
about
Ishavasya concept, Ishavasya principle.
yes, it's about
Ah.
the devatas,
Yeah, for Devatas, Yajna has to be done.
the rishis, devatas, the pitrus.
Rishis,
So
no
is there
Yajna.
some?
Rishis means Shastra, studying the Shastra, preserving the Shastra.
Okay, so that amounts to a yajna only.
Ah.
And
So
about
basically, Rishi Yajna means become a submissive disciple. Receive
okay.
knowledge.
Mhm.
The Guru will become Guru only when there is a disciple. When there is no disciple, how will a person become Guru?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
And
that means,
Pitru yajna also has to be performed through a Brahmana only, or is there some ritual we have to perform at home?
that's what we said in the beginning. See, our entire section is entirely connected. In the beginning, in the first chapter, that means 11th chapter, we have seen the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, who go through Upanayana ceremony, who are called as Dvija, they will go to Gurukula. In the Gurukula, they are all taught how to perform a fire sacrifice. When they come home after the education is completed, they are expected to perform fire sacrifice every day morning. Just like we Vaishnavas, we are entered into Vaishnava Diksha. Every day morning we perform japa. That's what we can now call it japa yajna. Yajnanam
Yes,
japa
yes.
yajnasmi. Chanting japa every day is also like japa yajna. Like that, there are some Agnihotri Brahmana, there are some Vaishyas who perform yajna every day morning. That is their daily sadhana. Okay, that is what
So,
they have learnt in the Gurukul. That is what Shiksha or Diksha they took. That is their lifetime process.
Prabhuji, the chanting which we do,
Ah.
that amounts to these five yajnas then?
No. See, chanting is a direct spiritual activity. It is nirguna activity.
Then in today's world, like in modern days, how do we do these yajnas then? I'm referring to the Pitru yajna.
Pitru yajna, Shraddha rites.
So we have to
How?
do it through Brahmanas only, no?
Not necessarily always. Maybe for the first time and the first year, 2 times we have to do through a Brahmana. If we happen to go to holy place, we can do through a Brahmana. Even without a Brahmana also we can do. As it is being done in our family.
The family does it and they
See,
do it through the Brahmanas only.
forget all those things. In our ISKCON temples, when there is a Tirobhavati, Prabhupada disappearance,
Huh.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur disappearance, any Acharya's disappearance, how do we celebrate?
We
Yeah, you
Pushpanjali,
asked right question. How do we celebrate?
we offer Pushpanjali, we speak about them, we do
No, you
kirtan for
don't
them.
go from the last to first. Start from the first to last. Pushpanjali is the last thing.
Okay. There is somebody glorifies the personality.
Okay.
And there is a bhajan, there is kirtan.
Okay.
Then
If they
there
have written
is
some bhajans, we sing those bhajans. Basically, if they
yes.
have written some bhajans like Bhaktivinoda Tagore, Narottam Das Tagore, lot of bhajans are there. In their memory, we sing their bhajans on that particular day.
After glorification, there is kirtan, there is arti, pushpanjali, and prasad.
Hmm. Okay. Because these are all gurus, we offer Guru Puja.
Okay.
So basically, if they have written some bhajans, we sing their bhajans. If they have written some commentaries, we discuss from their commentaries. And then we offer boga. The most important thing we forgot, we prepare nice boga. We offer to the deities and offer Mahaprasad to them. And then we offer Pushpanjali. And then we offer final Arati. And then we honor Mahaprasad. Because these are all our spiritual acharyas. So we do without any issue. Same way, in our home also, our ancestors also have done something good to us. Just like our spiritual acharyas have given us spiritual literatures and they have shown us the spiritual path, like that, our family members are also have given us culture, family occupation, family relations, family inheritance. We can remember all those things, what they have done, what they have given. Same way, just like we do for our acharya in temple, same way we can do for our forefathers in our home.
Okay, so there's no need to call Brahman. It's once a year we call Brahman and do it.
Not
But
necessarily always.
otherwise, on these
Not
various
necessarily.
tithis,
The
if we
when they passed away, that time we can bring brahmanas. Yeah.
okay, that's what I wanted to ask. Like, there's so
Mm.
many tithis, so one of these tithis, in spite of doing it in Pitru Paksha, we
If you
can just
happens to be in a holy place and if the brahmanas happen to be there, you can take their help. So
yes.
this particular samskara can be accompanied with Veda mantras, no problem.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Uh,
Thank you.
so just like we remember our acharya's spiritual exploits, same way we can remember the spiritual exploits of our ancestors. If, at least in the past, everyone's whole life used to be a tapasya, but nowadays people live just for the sake of living. So that's a different thing. But if at all they have done something good, we can remember that good on that particular day. So like that. Sometimes, okay, what happens now? So in the beginning days, Srila Prabhupada, especially in relation to the Western countries, they don't have all this culture. So Srila Prabhupada did not encourage all these additional things. So Srila Prabhupada would always say that just do bhakti, forget about all the other things not required. But the same Prabhupada only told in the later part, we need to have Varnashrama. If things should go on organically, we need to have Varnashrama system. Without Varnashrama system, your practice of bhakti becomes very much dry. If it is supposed to be healthy, it should be accompanied with Varnashrama system. So Varnashrama system, in that Varnashrama system, we have Grahastha ashram also. In that we have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, three of them can be called as Dvija. If somebody is a Dvija and if somebody is in Grahastha ashram, they are especially recommended to do all these things. So that is Varnashrama system. If we are part of Varnashrama system means we are supposed to follow all these things. If you are not following all these things means you are not part of Varnashrama system. So like that we should accept, we should see. If I mean this point we can remember. If somebody says that we are devotees, we are not supposed to do all these things. Are we already transcended three varnashram system? If somebody already transcended varnashram system, then they don't have to do. If somebody is still in varnashram system, considering oneself to be part of varnashram system, then one is supposed to do all these things. You may give tagline Devi Varnashrama or Shastrik Varnashrama or whatever it is, but it is like that. These are all very much conducive for a grahastha to lead their life as an offering. Yajna means offering. Whatever we have, it's supposed to be offered to all the people who are helping us to have all these things today. So in that way.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
संस्कारकालो जायाया
संस्कारकालो जायाया
अपत्यस्यात्मनस्तथा
अपत्यस्यात्मनस्तथा
प्रेतसंस्थामृताश्च मृताश्च
प्रेतसंस्थामृताश्च
कर्मणि अभ्युदये नृपा.
कर्मण्ये अभ्युदये नृपा. Translation: O King Yudhishthira, at the time prescribed for reformatory ritualistic ceremonies for oneself, one's wife, or one's children, or during funeral ceremonies and annual death ceremonies, one must perform the auspicious ceremonies mentioned above in order to flourish in fruitive activities. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So previous verse talks about snana, japa, vrata, and deva, brahmana archana, pitru, and deva, dhru, bhuta, something they are mentioned. In addition to that, what else can be done in all these auspicities? What all can be done? O King Yudhishthira, at the time prescribed for samskaras for oneself. So whatever samskaras we can do for ourselves, they can be performed in any of these auspicious moments. Or when one performs samskaras for one's own wife or for one's own children, all those things also can be performed during this auspicious moment. We don't have to go to the Brahmana to find out when I can do all these things. Already a list is given. All these moments are very auspicious. Any of these samskaras can be performed. Or during funeral ceremonies and annual death ceremonies, whenever we do annual death ceremony or funeral ceremony, one obtains great benefit by performing them at the times mentioned above. At the time of samskaras for the wife, such as Pumshavana, if we are performing Pumshavana samskara for the wife, you can choose one of these muhurtas to perform Pumshavana samskara. This is generally performed during the 5th month of the pregnancy. Or for the children, such as Jatakarma ceremony, or Shikamundana ceremony, or Chidra ceremony, Nakachidra ceremony, what you can say, that putting a hole in the ears, or removing the hair, or Jatakarma ceremony, and also Annaprasana ceremony, such kind of things which we do for our child, Upanayana ceremony, all these things can be performed in all these auspicious moments. And then for oneself, such as initiation into sacrifice, Harinam Diksha or Brahmana Diksha, etc., also can be performed on all these auspicious days. At the time of burning a body, Preta Samskara, and yearly Shraddhas, there will be great benefit by using those auspicious times. If some of our family members left their body, and around that time only, if some of these auspicious times are going on, do at that time. Even though it may be delayed by few hours or it may be earlier, a few hours earlier, but if those samskaras can be done during these times, if they are around, next just immediately they are there, they should be done. So in that way.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like whenever we ask, means any murta has to be seen na, for the marriage or for anything. So we generally ask the brahmanas. So those brahmanas will be telling one of the murtas from all these only whatever we discuss.
No, not all these. Some of them can match. In addition to that, also there could be other possible muhurtas also. But these are very good muhurtas. So there could be some good muhurtas also. So in that way.
Okay, because for us as a common man to understand these, okay, where exactly when these things are following, it becomes little difficult. So
Not like that. So
also, yeah, and for Dahan Sanskar, like for the deceased who has passed, for that also Muhurta needs to be seen, Roji.
Especially the Brahmanas, those people who are well versed in Shastra, they see the Muhurta and do the needful accordingly. They don't do whenever they want. We generally do according to our convenience. We wait till all the relatives come. If somebody is at far distance, they come till that, like that we wait. But even Dana Samskar is also one of the Samskaras. It is also one of the 16 Samskaras. Just like for name giving ceremony, etc., etc., we set a Muhurta. The same Dana Samskara also we can see some Muhurta. That means within 24 hours of a day, some hours are good, some hours are not good. So according to whichever hour is good, that hour should be done. That is good. Why not?
Okay, so if the Muhurta is no, please continue.
And the same thing. Even I have seen in my childhood some of the families in our village. So they are kind of aristocratic families. They have Brahmanas doing different pujas for the 13 days continuously. Even the Dahana Samskara ceremony is also done with a lot of chanting of the Vedic mantras and all. Normally, in our families, we don't see any Brahmana coming home or chanting any Vedic mantras. Only we call Brahmana on the 11th day for offering the Tripindi Shraddha, etc. So, but in some aristocratic family, they do from the even to take the dead body to the crematorium also. So, the rest of the 10 days, the Brahmana is at home only and they'll be doing pujas in the morning, afternoon, evening, threesome, the pujas are happening. So, it all depends on the family culture. What kind of culture that family tradition is being followed, accordingly, they follow. One who knows, they follow, they preserve, and they teach next generation. One who does not know, they never followed and they never teach anybody. So, like that, things are going on.
Okay, so the basic thing is, Prabhuji, that if the Dahan Sanskar is also performed seeing the Murta, that soul who has left the body will get more benefit of that.
Definitely,
Right.
why not? Why not?
Okay.
Just like for
Thank you.
marriage, we are seeing Muhurta. At least in your generation till now, parents always want to see Muhurta and get the marriage. And then the current generation, what Muhurta? No Muhurta. Will go to registration office and then put signature and then marriage over. So what Muhurta they are seeing there in the register office? And nowadays, most of them are love marriages. People elope and then go to some place here and there. They exchange garlands. That's all. Marriage is over. What Muhurta they are saying? Same thing can be done with Muhurta or without Muhurta also. But if you do with Muhurta, with auspicious time, auspicious place, there is a greater spiritual benefit. Otherwise, it is just being done as a matter of courtesy. That's all.
Yeah, most of the marriages, they try the marriage happens somewhere after long after the Murta has passed because the bride was busy doing makeup and things like that. So many times this is the situation.
See, nowadays people are not at all interested in Muhurta. People are interested in shooting. Shooting के लिए क्या suitable है वो देखते हैं बस.
Yeah, true.
Recently, I've been to Hyderabad. I did not attend full marriage, but part of the marriage I attended here and there. People are interested in shooting shooting and doing all these enjoyment things than performing the Vedic rituals properly. The shooting, dancing, all are happening in the daytime. Vedic rituals are happening in the nighttime, which is not supposed to be done. So that's how the Kali Yuga is rampantly advancing.
Yeah, it's not even started, which is still in we are Sandhya, still it is so bad.
And top of that, we devotees also say that, oh, not required, all these things are not required, no need to do anything. पहले वो नहीं कर रहे. If devotees also does not encourage, then they will tell, devotees भी नहीं कर रहे, हम भी नहीं करने की जरूरत नहीं. No one will do tomorrow.
True.
So it's like that. अथ देशान् प्रवक्ष्यामि
अथ देशान् प्रवक्ष्यामि
धर्मादिश्रेय आवहान्
धर्मादृश्येयावहान्
स वै पुण्यतमो देशः
स वै पुण्यतमो देशः
Satpatram yatra labhyate.
Satpatram yatra labhyate.
Bimbam bhagavato yatra.
Vimam bhagavato yatra.
Sarvam etacharacharam.
Sarvam etat characharam.
Yatra ha brahmana kulam.
Yatra ha brahmana kulam.
Tapo vidyadayanvitam.
Tapo vidyadayanvitam. Narad Muni continued, now I shall describe the places where religious performances may be well executed. Any place where a Vaishnava is available is an excellent place for all auspicious activities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the support of this entire cosmic manifestation, with all its moving and non moving living entities. And the temple where the deity of the Lord is installed is a most sacred place. Furthermore, places where learned Brahmanas observe Vedic principles by means of austerity, education, and mercy are also most auspicious and sacred. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So in the previous verses, it is mentioned that when to perform these 5 yajnas and also many other activities which are conducive for one's spiritual progress. Now onwards, he says that where to perform. The place also, just like the time is important, the place is also important. Now, I shall describe the places where religious performances may be well executed. The most auspicious places are where there are Vaishnavas. Ata deshan pravakshami dharmadi shreya avahan. The places where the Vaishnavas are there. Vaishnavas are Satpatram. Satpatram yatra labhyate. Savai punyatamo desha Satpatram yatra labhyate. The places where you get to see the Vaishnavas, those places are Punyatamo desha. They are the most pious places. In those places, one can perform all these wonderful religious activities. Dharmadi Shreya Avahan. Dharmic, beneficial dharmic activities. Spiritually beneficial dharmic activities. These are all. The most auspicious places are where there are the Vaishnavas, who are equal to the deity of the Lord, who is the support of this entire cosmic manifestation. Bimbam Bhagavato Yatra Sarvam Etat Characharam. Bimbam Bhagavato means the representative of the Supreme Lord. Who represents the Supreme Lord? First of all, the deity represents the Supreme Lord. The holy place represents the Supreme Lord. Holy name represents the Supreme Lord. Abhinnatva Nam Namine. And devotee also represents the Supreme Lord. What are the 5 things that Rupa Goswami said? The last 5 things which have the potential to evoke Bhava? Sri Murti Seva, Dham Seva, Vaishnava Seva, Bhagavat Seva, Nam Seva. All these 5 are non-different from the Supreme Lord. They are all called as Bhagavata Bimbam. So wherever these 5 things are there, in those places we can perform all these wonderful dharmic, religious, spiritual activities. And here in this context, the Vaishnavas are taken, who are equal to the deity of the Supreme Lord, who is the support of this entire cosmos. The Supreme Lord is the support of entire manifestation, with all its moving and non-moving living entities, Characharam, are where there are learned Brahmanas endowed with austerity, education, and mercy. Yatraha Brahmana Kulam Tapo Vidya Dhananvitam, where the Brahmanas endowed with tapasya, Vidya, and Dhaya, mercy. So those places are also good. Of course, Vaishnavas are already came. Even Brahmanas with these wonderful qualities, wherever they are residing, those places are fit for performing all these spiritual dharmic activities. It's like that. Of course, this is also said, Bhagavad Bimbam is also Vaishnavas, also the deities of the Lord. Wherever holy places, the deities are there, in all those places are also auspicious places for performing these auspicious activities. It's like that. Satpatram means the Vaishnavas, who is equal to the form of the Supreme Lord, who is the universe of moving and non-moving beings. So in that way. So basically, wherever the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas are there, and perform all these wonderful activities. So now, next verse talks about, especially all the places are mentioned, some of the important places, just like some of the important muhurtas are mentioned, some of the important places are also mentioned in the upcoming verses. Yatra yatra harerarcha.
Yatra yatra harerarcha.
We are not able to hear, Mataji.
Yatra yatra harerarcha. Hare Krishna.
Sadesha Shreyasam Padam
Sadesha sampadam.
Yatra Gangadayo Nadya
Yatra gangadayo nadya.
Puraneshu cha Vistruta.
Puraneshu cha vishruta. Auspicious indeed are the places where there is a temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, in which he is duly worshipped, and also the places where there flow the celebrated sacred rivers mentioned in the Puranas. The supplementary Vedic literatures, anything spiritual done, there is certainly very effective.
Yeah. The best places are the places where there are the deity forms of the Lord and where there are the celebrated sacred rivers mentioned in the Puranas. Flow. The holy Tirthas and holy Kshetras are all suitable places for performing these wonderful activities. The devotees of the Lord is considered superior to the forms of the Lord. Thus it is said, Mad Bhakta Puja Dyapika. The worship of my devotee is superior to my worship. Of course, this is connected to the previous verse that Bhagavato Bimbam is considered to be devotees because Lord himself says, Mad Bhakta Puja Bedika. Archayam eva hare pujayam ya shraddhayete natat bhakteshu chanyeshu sa bhakta prakrita smuta. Otherwise, a person who is very faithfully engaged in the deity worship in the temple but does not know how to behave towards the other devotees or people in general is called as a Kanishtadhikari. Only a Kanishtadhikari consider, no, wherever deity is there, that is only auspicious place, not about the devotee. No, according to Bhagavatam, even more auspicious than the place where deity is there is the place where a pure devotee is there. That place is more suitable for performing all these wonderful spiritual activities. So, like that. So somebody may say that if it is not holy place, why should we do? Even in a non-holy place, if there is a devotee, that place becomes holy and one can perform all these wonderful activities. So that to that effect. Archa refers to the deity or Shaligram. The fixed forms are those such as Jagannatha in places like Orissa. So basically, Archa refers to the Prana Pratishtha deities, which are fixed, which are not moved from there. Such kind of deities are called Archa. So in that way. So now the verse talks about what are the places where one can perform these wonderful activities. Sharamsi Pushkaradini
Taramsi Pujarati
Kshetrani Arhasritanyuta
Prani Arhachitanyata
Kurukshetram Gayashira
Shra
Prayaga Pulahashrama
Yaga Lahashrama
Naimisham Palgunam Setu
Naimisham
Prabhasota Kurustal Kushastali.
Prabha
Mataji, we are not able to hear you at all. Let somebody else can decide whose network is
Okay.
good. Varanasi Madhupuri
Varanasi Madhupuri
Pampa Bindu Sharatata
Pampa Bindu Sarastata
Narayanashramo Nanda
Narayanashramo Nanda
Sita Ramashramadaya
Sita Rama Shamadaya
Sarve Kulachala Rajan
Sarve Kulachala Rajan
Mahendra Malayadayaha
Mahindra Malayadaya
Ete Punyatama Desha
Ete Punyatama Desha
Harer Archashritaschaye
Harera Archashitaschye
Etan Deshan Nisheveta
Etan Deshan Nisheveta
Shreyas Kamo Hi Abhikshanahasha
Shreyas Kamo Habhikshinasha
Dharmo Hi Arte Hitaha Pumsham
Dharmo He Prita Punsam
Sahasradi Phalodayaha.
Sahasradi Falodaya. The sacred lakes like Pushkara and places where saintly persons live, like Kurukshetra, Gaya, Prayag, Pulahashrama, Naimisharanya, the banks of the Falgu river, Setu Bandha, Prabhas, Dwarka, Varanasi, Mathura, Pampa, Bindu Sarovar, Badrika Ashram, Narayana Ashram, the places where the Nanda river flows, the places where Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita took shelter, such as Chitrakoot, and also the hilly tracts of land known as Mahendra and Malya. All of these are to be considered most pious and sacred. Similarly, places outside India where there are centers of the Krishna consciousness movement and where Radha Krishna deities are worshipped must all be visited and worshipped by those who want to be spiritually advanced. One who intends to advance in spiritual life may visit all these places and perform ritualistic ceremonies to get results 1,000 times better than the results of the same activities performed in any other place. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hmm. Sacred lakes like Pushkara. Pushkara, we have the sacred lake. Places where saintly persons live, like Kurukshetra, Gaya, Prayag, Pulahashrama, Naimisharanya, and Falgu River, Setubandha, that is Rameshwaram, Prabhasa, Dwaraka, Varanasi, that is Kashi, Mathura, Pampa, that is Hampi, Bindu Sarovara, that is Siddhapur, hmm, Badrik Ashrama, Nanda River, places where Lord Ramachandra and Mother Sita took shelter, such as Chitrakuta and Nasik, and also Mahendra and Malaya ranges, Mahendra Parvata and Malaya Parvata, places having deities are to be considered the most pure places. One who intends to advance in spiritual life should visit all these places again and again. Etan deshan nisheveta shreyas kamohi abhikshnasha. So those who want to have spiritual progress, they should be visiting all these places again and again. When one visits all these places, if those auspicious moments supposed to be there around, one should perform all those auspicious activities. Acts performed in these places gives you 1,000 times more results than at other places. Dharmo hi arte hitas pumsham sahasradi falodaya. We generally hear that when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj or any senior devotee, they say that whenever we go to Vrindavan, Dwarka, they say this is the most powerful holy place. So we have come here next 1 week. Let us practice bhakti very intensely. If we do it, we get 1,000 times benefit. The reference is here. Dharmo hi arte hitas pumsham sahasradi falodaya. If one performs all these spiritual activities in all these holy places, one gets 1,000 times more benefit than when they performed in Mumbai or places around Mumbai. So that is the understanding. So this verse, in a way, talks about all the places where one can perform all these. Of course, this is not exhaustive list. some important place, some notable places are mentioned, and there could be many other holy places also. South Indian holy places also many are there, but which are not mentioned in this verse. 12th canto, they are all mentioned. South Indian holy places. Here mostly the North India holy places are mentioned. So in that way. So don't think that only these places are important. Not like that. All other holy places are also important. Since it is Bhagavatam, so there should be a limit. So few important notable places are mentioned. So for that matter, any holy place, any holy river, any holy mountain, they are all suitable for performing any spiritual activity. So like that we can take. I think this could be the reason. This is happening now just after Rajasuya sacrifice. The discussion Narada Muni is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj. So when they go to Vanavas, the 12 years of Vanavas, so Pandavas never regretted going to Vanavas. They took it as a great opportunity to travel the length and breadth of the entire India. So they traveled to all the holy places all over India. Even it happened here in Mandi, the place where I am, there is one temple. In the temple, they put dioramas of the Pandavas. They said that the Pandavas actually they went to Himalayas passing through this place. They pass through Mandi area also. And if you go to South India, there is one place like Pandavpur or something like that. This is very close to Melkote. Adjacent to Melkote, there is one holy place, Pandavpur or something like that. Pandavas stayed there for 1 week, and during that time, they also installed a deity of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana deity, and they also kind of inspired the local king to construct a temple also for Lord Vishnu. Deity they made, but the local king later on they constructed a beautiful temple. So like that, they visited length and breadth all the holy places. So whichever part of India we go, somewhere, some corner, we get some connection. Okay, Pandavas came this place. Even Lord Rama, Mother Sita also traveled to so many places. So like that. So then the last part of this chapter, few verses we'll discuss and then we'll close for today. Quickly. Patram tu atra niruktam vai
पात्रं त्व अत्र निरुक्तं वै
kavibi patravittamai
कविभिः पात्रवित्तमयि
harir evaika urvisa
हरिरेवैक उर्विशां
यन्मयं वै चराचरम्.
यन्मयं वै चराचरम्. O King of the earth, it has been decided by expert learned scholars that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, in whom all that is moving or non-moving within this universe is resting, and from whom everything is coming, is the best person to whom everything must be given.
O King of the earth, it has been decided by learned scholars that only the Supreme Lord, in whom all that is moving or non-moving within this universe is resting, is the best person to whom everything should be given. So till now, what should be performed, when should be performed, where should be performed, we discussed. Now finally, for whose pleasure, who is the object of our worship, that is being indicated. Krishna is supposed to be the object of our worship. Whatever pious activity we should perform as per this chapter, every activity should be performed as an offering to Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, we get so many references. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yajjuvashi tadashat yattapashasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. And then fifth chapter, last verse. भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिरिच्छति यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धन तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसंग समाचर and there aham ye sarvajnanam bhokta cha ka prabhurev cha. Like that, many places Lord Krishna indicates the essence of Shastra that whatever we do, we should do it as an offering to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That point will be elaborated now in the rest of the chapter. So because The Lord is the summon of the entire universe. It is from the Lord everything has manifested. It is the Lord who desires the fruit of every activity should be offered to. So in that way. To whom should offerings be given for progressing in Dharma? In order to speak about offerings directly to Supreme Lord, to the Vaishnavas, to the Brahmanas, and all living entities, first the recipient of offerings is explained. First, things should be offered to Supreme Lord, and then to Vaishnavas, then to Brahmanas, then to all the living entities. That's why we say, na, we should offer Mahaprasad to everyone. Even if we are feeding animals, we should feed them Mahaprasad. Even if we are feeding our guests or people in general, we should feed them Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad means first is offered to Supreme Lord. Even if we are supposed to offer to Vaishnava Acharyas, we first offer to the deity, then offer to Vaishnava Acharyas. Even if we are supposed to offer to our Pitrus, our forefathers, we should offer to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and then offer to our forefathers. So Lord should be the first recipient. And these Mahaprasada should be offered to everyone. That point we should understand now. देवर्षि हरहति अर्हस्तु वैसस्तु
Devarsharastu. Go ahead, Mataji.
देवर्षिहरहस्तु वैसस्तु
तत्र ब्रह्मात्मजादिषु
तत्र ब्रह्मात्मजादिषु
राजन् यद् अग्रपूजायाम्
राजन्यत् अग्रपूजायां
मता पात्रातयाच्युतः
अतः पात्रातयाच्युतः. O King Yudhishthir, the demigods, many great sages and saints, including even the four sons of Lord Brahma, and I myself were present at your Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. But when there was a question of who should be the first person worshipped, everyone decided upon Lord Krishna, the Supreme Person.
So in order to establish why the Supreme Lord first, so Naradamu taking the current example. O King Yudhishthira, the venerable sages, the Devatas, and the sons of Lord Brahma, such as four Kumaras, they are all present at your Raj sacrifice. Everyone decided that Lord Krishna was the qualified. Lord Krishna was qualified as the first person to be worshipped. Only Lord Krishna was selected unanimously for the Agra Puja. So that is the reason. It was decided without quarrel that the Lord was qualified for first worship at the Rajasuya sacrifice. Among the Devatas, sages qualified by sacrifice and austerity, and among the sons of Brahma like Kumaras, it was decided that Lord Krishna was qualified for the first worship. Because there are so many personalities like Shiva is there, Brahma is there, four Kumaras are there, Narada Muni is there, Indra is there. Huh? So many people, big people from the entire universe and big people on the earth also they are there. There are people like Bhishma and others, so Somadatta, Shalya, etc. were there. But everyone selected Lord Krishna. So that indicates that the Supreme Lord should be worshipped first. जीवराशिभिराकीर्ण
जीवराशिभिराकीर्ण
अंडकोशांग्रिपो महान्
अंडकोशाग्रग्रिपो महान्
तन्मूलत्वादच्युतेज्या
तन्मूलत्वादच्युतेजा
सर्वजीवात्मतर्पणम्
सर्वजीवात्मतर्पणम्. The entire universe, which is full of living entities, is like a tree whose root is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Achyuta, Krishna. Therefore, simply by worshipping Lord Krishna, one can worship all living entities.
So why the Supreme Lord? One example was Rajasuya sacrifice. He was selected by everyone. Even Brahma approved it, Shiva approved it, Indra approved it. The second example is the entire universe is like a huge tree filled with billions of jivas like twigs, leaves, fruits, and flowers, etc. And worship of Achyuta will satisfy all jivas since the Supreme Lord is the root of the entire tree. If we offer water to the root, every part of the tree is nourished. Something like that. The reason for their agreement is given because the Lord is the root of the universe. So if he is satisfied, the entire universe is satisfied. Yasmin tushte, jagat tushte. So like that. Purani anena srishtani.
Purani anena srishtan. Purani anena srishtani.
Nrutirya grushi devata.
Nritirya grishi devata.
Sete jivena rupena.
Chete jivena rupena.
Pureshu purusho yasau.
Pureshu Purusho Hisau. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has created many residential places, like the bodies of human beings, animals, birds, saints, and demigods. In all of these innumerable bodily forms, the Lord resides with the living beings as Paramatma. Thus, he is known as the Purushavatar.
So third reason why Lord should be worshipped. Third reason is as we study in Brahma Samhita, Andantarastha Paramanu Chantarastham. Little elaboration of the same verse. The Lord has created the bodies for the jivas in human, animal, sages, and devata forms. The Lord also resides as Paramatma in all their bodies. It is the Lord who created all the living entities. It is the Lord who created the bodies for all the living entities. It is the Lord who resides in the heart of each and every living entity. Even in case if you select somebody else for Agra Puja, we are actually not worshipping that Jivatma, but we are worshipping the Paramatma in that Jivatma. For that reason also the Lord is the most worthy of worship. So in all respects, the Lord is the worthy of worship. One can directly offer to the Lord at the time of his descent. At other times, one should offer to the devotees. So when Lord is actually present, like for Raja sacrifice, Lord is there. So the Agra Puja was directly offered to the Supreme Lord. So if the Lord is not there, for example, right now, so in that times, at other times when the Lord is not directly present, one should offer to the devotee, since it was already said that the devotee is the real recipient of the offering, Sat Patram, in verse 27. Then one should worship all other living beings. So when Lord is personally present, one should worship the Lord, offer Lagar Puja to Supreme Lord. When Lord is not present, the Lord's representative, the devotee should be offered. So in that way. Maybe this verse can be taken as an explanation for Ritvik system. So when Guru is there, Guru should be accepted, Guru should be worshipped. When Guru is not there, Guru's representative should be accepted as Guru and should be worshipped. So in that way. Teshu eva Bhagavan Rajas. Teshu eva Bhagavan Rajas.
Teshaiva Bhagavan Rajams
Taratamyena Vartate.
Taratamyena Vartate
Tasmat Patram hi Purusho.
Tasmat Patram Hi Purusho
Yavan Atma Yate Yate.
Yavanatmaha Yate Yate. O King Yudhishthir, the super soul in everybody gives intelligence to the individual soul according to his capacity for understanding. Therefore, the super soul is the chief within the body. The super soul is manifested to the individual soul according to the individual's comparative development of knowledge, austerity, penance, and so on.
O King, the Paramatma resides in all beings proportionately. Therefore, he is the object of worship in those beings according to the degree of their knowledge and renunciation. Though Paramatma is there in the heart of every living entity, but every living entity is not qualified to receive Agra Puja. Who will be qualified to receive? A pure devotee. According to one's knowledge of the Supreme Lord, according to one's renunciation from this material world. So, in that way, that living entity gradation we can take. Because the Lord resides as Paramatma to various degrees in animals and others, Paramatma is the object of worship. However, to the degree that the Jiva has superiority in knowledge, detachment, and other wonderful qualities, he becomes the object of worship. Just like in the previous verse, when the Lord is not there, devotee should be worshipped. Which devotee? Whichever devotee has all these wonderful qualities. So they should be worshipped, not everyone. Shruti says, Purushasve Sha Vishataram Atma. In the human form, a person understands Atma. Atato Brahma Jignase. So like that. So whoever is mature, highly matured in the Brahma Jignasa, that person is qualified to receive the worship on behalf of the Supreme Lord when the Lord is absent. So like that. दृष्ट्वा तेषां मितो नृणाम्
दृष्ट्वा तेषां मिथो नृणाम्
अवज्ञानात्मनां नृपा
अवज्ञानात्मतां नृपा
त्रेतादिषु हरेरर्चा
श्रेतादिषु हरेरर्चा
क्रियायै कविभिः कृता.
क्रियायै कविभिः कृता. My dear king, when great sages and saintly persons saw mutually disrespectful dealings at the beginning of Treta Yuga, deity worship in the temple was introduced with all paraphernalia.
Yeah. So the previous verse when we were discussing, somebody might have had a doubt. So if we have to worship the Lord, if there when Lord is not there, Lord's deity is there, we can worship the Lord's deity. So why not? Of course, one point is personal thing is important. And the second thing, so when Ardhamni was saying, keeping in mind that when there was no deity, either Lord is personally there or Lord's devotee is personally there. But later on the deity came. Under what circumstance the deity came is being indicated here. Dear king, when great sages saw that people were disrespectful of each other at the beginning of Treta Yuga, deity worship in the temple was introduced. That means during the time of Satya Yuga, every person used to respect every other person as good as the Supreme Lord, because in the heart of their heart, Supreme Lord is there. So they would respect everyone as good as they would respect the Supreme Lord. But eventually, by the end of the Satya Yuga, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, people could not show same respect. They started finding faults with the people. They started criticizing and they started disrespecting the people. So at that time, they said, if we are not able to see the Lord in the heart of other people, we should be able to see the Lord in the deity. The deity worship began from the beginning of Treta Yuga. When the sages saw that humans could not respect the Lord in all beings, since they were mutually disrespectful to each other, deity worship was introduced. So that means, in one sense, in Satya Yuga, deity worship is not required. People are so qualified that they are able to see the Supreme Lord in every living entity, not only human beings, in every species. When they could not see that, when they could not respect that, then in Treta Yuga, the deity has been installed. At least for deity, have the respect in that way. Avajnanatmatam means that they developed intelligence which disrespected others. That means their buddhi became polluted. As a result of that, they began to disrespect other living entities. Then the deity worship has been introduced. So in that way. So thereafter what happened? Tato archayam harim kechi
Tato archayam harim kechi
samshraddhaya saparyaya
samshraddhaya saparyaya
upasta upastapi nartada sar upasata upastapi
upasata upasatapi
nartadha purushadvisham.
narthada purusha dvisham. Sometimes the neophyte devotee offers all paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord, and if actually worships the Lord as the deity. Of the authorized devotees of Lord Vishnu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service.
Thus, from the beginning of Treta Yuga, people began to worship the Supreme Lord with all the different paraphernalia with complete faith. But eventually, people started criticizing the deity, disrespecting the deity also. Such kind of people, even if they worship deity, they don't get any benefit. So like that. Upasta means worshipped. Though worship takes place, there is no effect because of greater offense than simply disrespect mentioned in the previous verse. So it's like that. Even though one may be worshipping the deities, if either we disrespect the living entities or disrespect the deities, we don't get any benefit. So it is like that. Even third canto, when Lord Kapila was speaking about some of the important aspects of bhakti in the 29th chapter, I suppose, after speaking bhakti performed by a person in the mode of ignorance, passion, goodness, and beyond goodness, nirguna, then he talks about some of the important activities that one should do in the bhakti and what one should do. In that context, it is mentioned that. So we are able to see the Lord in the deity, but not able to see the Lord in the people, in the heart of the people. Such kind of worship is evam archa vidambanam. So something like that. So both are important. We should respect the deity as well as we should respect the devotee and people in general also. Purusheshu api Rajendra
Purusheshvapi Rajendra
Supatram Brahmanam Viduhu
Supatram Brahmanam Vidu
Tapasa Vidyaya Tushtya
Tapasa Vidya Tushtya
Datte Vedam Harestanum.
Dhatte Vedam Harestunam. My dear king, of all persons, a qualified Brahmana must be accepted as the best within this material world, because such a Brahmana, by practicing austerity, Vedic studies, and satisfaction, becomes the counterpart body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
O best of the kings, among all people, a Brahmana must be accepted as the best within this material world. Because such a Brahmana, and that means, first of all, Supreme Lord, second, the Supreme Lord's pure devotee. Other than these two people, in the rest of the world, who can be worshipped? Best of the Brahmanas. Why? Because a Brahmana, by austerity, knowledge, and satisfaction, possesses the Vedas, which are the body of the Supreme Lord. So, which kind of Brahmana? Who is endowed with tapasya, vidya, and who is completely satisfied with what he has, who has no selfishly motivated. Such Brahmana completely surrender to the Vedas, understand the essence of the Vedas. Such a person is the next qualified person to worship. First to Supreme Lord, then Lord's pure devotee, then such a wonderful Brahmana. Among humans, those with austerity and other good qualities are the best. The Brahmana possesses the Vedas, which indicate the Lord or Brahman by his knowledge. That means Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. Those who know the Vedas, those who know the essence of the Vedas, Vedeshu Sarvam Ahameva Vidyo. So such a person is best. The word Brahmana means a person who studies and knows the Veda. Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. So like that. I think last verse of the day, last verse of the chapter. Nanvasya Brahmana Rajan
Nanvasya na brahmana rajan
Krishnasya Jagadatmanaha
Krishnasya jagadatmanaha
Punantaha Padarajasa
punantaha padarajasa
Trilokim Daivatam Mahat.
trilokim daivatam mahat. My dear King Yudhishthir, the Brahmanas, especially those engaged in preaching the glories of Lord throughout the entire world, are recognized and worshipped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the heart and soul of all creation. The Brahmanas, by their preaching, sanctify the three worlds with the dust of their lotus feet, and thus they are worshipable even for Krishna.
O king, the Brahmanas who purify the three worlds with the dust of their feet are greatly worshipped by the Supreme Lord. This verse is same as like third canto. Lord Vishnu himself says that I keep the dust of the Brahmanas on my head. As a result of that, my feet are purified. My feet are powerful to purify the three worlds. So in that way, in any case, Lord Krishna respects the Brahmanas because he is affectionate to them. Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. So in that regard. However, the Brahmanas are not actually more worthy of worship than the Lord. Since Lord Krishna was considered the most worthy of worship through many Brahmanas, though many Brahmanas were present at the Rajasuya sacrifice. Though Lord Krishna himself may worship the Brahmanas, but the Brahmanas are not superior to Supreme Lord. If the Brahmanas are superior, then Brahmanas only were selected for Agra Puja. Why Krishna was selected for Agra Puja? That indicates that even though Lord Krishna personally may respect and worship the Brahmanas, but the Supreme Lord is worshipable and respectable by everyone, including the Brahmanas. So he is the first person to receive all our offerings. What to do, when to do, where to do, and for whom to do, all these things are indicated in this chapter. So, like this, in these 4 chapters, we have seen the wonderful duties and responsibilities and activities of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, and finally Grahastha. So, like that, this Varnashram system has been briefly described by Lord Narada Muni in these 4 chapters. Even the Grahastha thing is not simply completed now, few more additional points are there which are mentioned in the next chapter. The next chapter talks about further responsibilities, activities of a Grahastha. So, in this way, this section is going on. The next chapter is the last chapter of this section. Hare Krishna, we will start in the next week. Okay. Finally, any final questions?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
This Prabhuji,
Little louder.
in these last verses, Prabhuji, in these last verses, we discussed that during Treta Yuga, the deity worship was introduced because that time people were not worshipping each other or the Paramatma in their each other's heart like that. So, but we generally talk that Treta Yuga was for Makhai like yajnas, na? So, and Dwapar Yuga is for the deity worship. So, how to understand this?
No. Treta Yuga, deity worship is introduced. In Dwapar Yuga, deity worship has become the sadhana.
Okay. So each yuga, all the practices are there, but in particular yuga, that one practice will be most prominent like that.
In one sense, which most of the people can do, that becomes the Yuga Dharma.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Other devotees have any questions?
No, Prabhuji,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you.
Okay.
Prabhu-
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, there was one question. Like nowadays, there, like in Mumbai, we saw that there was online one O Pandit who used to do these ceremonies of for the Shraddha ceremonies. So, what I have understood that we are supposed to do it, but when we don't know how exactly to do it, and when we seek help from these, how authentic it is, that understanding. I mean,
No,
then what is?
yes, there are two ways to understand whether to hear from somebody or read from some books which are written by some authentic person. Either way, but जितना हो सकता है उतना directly try to do understand is better. referring to online would be the last option. That should not be the first option.
Huh.
Hmm.
Okay. In the sense, they have pandits who come to your home and do the Shraddha ceremony.
Okay,
So,
then no problem. Person personally coming means that is good.
but Prabhuji, our mentality, I mean, this is what I would say, that then we start comparing between those individuals. They are uttering some mantras, but then we can see that they are used to maybe the kind, I mean, not sattvic bhojan, or they are addicted to tea and coffee. And this is what my mind will look at, and then it will start comparing. Oh,
Yeah.
better than this, I would have called some devotee and I would have done at least some Brahman bhojan that way. So then that what we would say duvidha is there. What have I done is right, or it is just for the sake of doing?
See, Brahmana Bhojan alone itself will not complete the particular act. Brahmana Bhojan should be there along with other things also. Like we have seen that distributing prasada to all the living entities and all the human beings around. That is there, but
Yes.
before that, worship is also there. The both should be done. So in that way, with whose help we shall take, we need to little bit considerate in that. That show that indicate the need that we need to have a trained people who can do all these samskaras within our society
Yeah.
also.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
so somebody should come forward and learn and all these things and do it in a proper bona fide way. That need is there because it's a big society. The requirement is there, so we should have every support.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yes, Prabhuji.
yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, I think if no questions are there, we'll start joining on the Saturday. So we'll again meet next Saturday. Hare Krishna. One second. Next Saturday, what about we shall have class or how it is? Maybe possible, may not be